Hey, they say the moon landing was fake. JFK, man, they wanted him erased. Aliens and bunkers, government lies, chemtrails painting secrets in the skies. It's a co-host, dual voice or the code, digging through the chaos down every dark road. New world order, we taking names. Bigfoot's real and he knows the game. Conspiracy chaos where the truth gets wild. From pyramids to lizard kings in exile. They hide it all, but we pull the thread. So buckle up tight, it's all in your head. Conspiracy chaos where the truth gets wild. From pyramids to lizard kings in exile. They hide it all, but we pull the thread. So buckle up tight, it's all in your head.
This is Conspiracy Chaos. Truth, fiction, or both? Let's dive in.
Let's go. We're back with another episode of Conspiracy Chaos. My name is RGB. Joining me as always, we got my co-host, Area 51, Anthony in Florida. Mike. Anth, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on, Raj? How you doing tonight?
Oh, good, man. Mike, how is it down there in Florida? Getting sprayed by the skies?
It was for the last like 4 or 5 days, but then since this being our coldest day, they left the sky alone today.
Oh, that
It's
was
funny.
nice.
It's funny.
That was nice. Well,
Rod,
guys, I got a special guest here joining us tonight. We got our guy James from the Plunder World. James, jump up.
Go
Well,
ahead,
hey there. Hey, my name's James. I'm out of Houston, and I got a little hungry wiener dog running around my feet. And when I'm not bowling or fishing or going outside and camping, I'm making trading cards all about all those weird conspiracies or dark parts of history that you never learned in school. And it's been fun. I go to conventions, and just recently I got called a racist Nazi. Hey.
Oh my God.
Oh, there
Well,
you
it
go.
seems like
Added to the accolades.
I was gonna say, it seems like everybody's getting called that these days, James. Don't feel bad. I don't know. You can just do the slightest thing and you're called a Nazi. It's like, what the fuck, dude? But yeah. You know, RGB's out there in the middle of nowhere, so we always try his internet at first. But something as soon as we start recording, shit just something. I don't think they want us talking about what we're going to talk about or something. Somebody's always shutting him down.
And I got some news for y'all tonight.
Yeah. Okay. What do you got?
Well, a little bit of a tease. Let's see. Let's just say, I don't know if any of y'all like to go to national or state parks. I think at least 2 of you are near the Adirondacks. But
yes, I was just in the Adirondacks there a couple weekends ago. I'm about 2 hours away. So, yes.
If you're ever out that way, you might want to look for some funny signs posted by the park rangers. And
Do
it
we
might
lose
look
James or am
something
I the
like
one
this.
lost?
And I don't know if you can. Whoops, that's not supposed to happen.
There we go.
There we go. I don't know if you're. You might see signs similar to this when you go out hiking, but if you see any black vinyl hose or you see bottles of used up chemicals like WD-40 or weed killer, well, then chances are.
Well, we
We lost your audio.
Yeah, I am going right now. Yep.
Good.
And
Yep. I remember you said the warning signs. We got to that part, and then the WD. You might see cans of WD-40.
So that's signs that you might be stumbling on illegal cannabis grow operation. Okay, and the problem is that the people running these are pretty militant. They have armed guards. There have been campers and even park rangers that have been shot at. Some of you have been stabbed. Gotten into some wild confrontations, and it's even involved the federal authorities. And I don't want to keep jumping back and forth to documents, but I have a whole collection of reports. Illegal. These are what they're doing is they're growing these gigantic farms in corners of national parks that are rarely explored by visitors. We're talking, a good 90-minute march away from any serviceable road. And there's at least the Park Service testified before Congress in 2011. This is 2011.
Mm-hmm.
They estimated that at least 20 national parks have grow operations, and we're talking hundreds of acres.
Damn. And mostly it's
That's
because
crazy.
I seen a documentary years ago. It was similar to what you're talking about because they were talking about how like it was Humboldt County up in Cali. It was the Golden Triangle.
I was just gonna say the green triangle.
Yeah, it's called the Emerald Triangle.
Emerald Triangle.
Emerald
Yeah.
Triangle. Thank you. They have the Netflix documentary Murder Mountain. I mean, they don't really talk about the cartel side of things, but these guys are so accustomed to not having. They use nature. They figure out a way to get water to these camps. They figure out all of this, how to get energy, all this shit there to make this stuff happen. It's not, they do. This is what they do. They literally create a grow in the middle of a fucking forest in a jungle, and off they go. But if you come anywhere close, it's almost like
they're guarding it. They're like
it's almost like a tribe, like the Sentinel Island tribe, man. You get too close, they're sending over an arrow.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit more organized than you think, and the conventional wisdom is that it's all a product of Mexican drug cartels. This first article goes back to 2005, and I won't read the whole thing, but this is the kind of information I pour through online when I'm creating a subject for a new card. And of course, I have a big pile of books to go along with it. But the interesting thing about this is they're seizing, and this is a complete, total cooperative effort with federal help. They're seizing about almost $250 million worth of product just in California alone every year. And it's spread all the way up to Washington, Arizona, Utah, Colorado.
Do you think the illegal cannabis growing has become like more dense since it's become legal, like in all the states? It's like, is it easier to transport? Is it easier to kind of get away with it?
Absolutely. The catch is that I mean, I don't know how far back you want to go, but everything started when medical cannabis was legalized in California. And so what you then do is create a taxing and a restrictive licensing structure that drives the price of this product through the roof. And it naturally creates a black market.
Yeah.
And then when you have recreational use, that drives the taxes even higher because now it's at a consumer level. And the cartels, instead of smuggling product, they pay and have a whole bunch of illegal workers pass through the border to run these grow operations. And these are stout folks. These aren't like the little shrimpy, hunched over ladies you see in all the news footage. Some of the federal agents that have arrested these growers, they said when they try to put cuffs on them, it's like trying to put handcuffs around wood. And these guys are like, they hang out there for months, sometimes years. They'll cut down trees, make a shelter out of a tarp. They'll shoot local wildlife and eat off beans and hawk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't leave that land.
But it's deeper than just Mexican drug cartels. And we can explore that a little bit later because this is international. And it's just the latest incarnation of this whole dope smuggling network that I don't have my book with me. It's downstairs. But there's a book I recommend everybody pick up. It's called Dope Inc. And it's not a conspiracy book, so don't worry. It's hey, but it was a book written in combination by a bunch of artists by Executive Intelligence Review, and it's a tough book to read because there's no index, and every chapter is basically like a news dispatch or a magazine summary. So it jumps around a lot. But that entire book will tell you about the origins of the British East India Company smuggling opium, how the stockholders in British East India Company founded Yale University, how they formed Skull and Bones secret societies, and how George Soros profited from laundering drug money into the Cayman Islands. That's where he got his start. In
James,
fact,
what was the name of the book? I'm sorry, I knocked my
Do-
camera off. Dope
No problem. Dope Inc.
Inc.
And
It's
then
a fantastic book.
even look at Arkansas with Barry Seal. And
Oh my God.
I mean, they had the open door. Everybody's looking at Miami back then. You know, the cocaine cowboys were flooding South Florida, but really the big loads were coming into Arkansas with Barry Fields and CIA.
Absolutely.
Or Barry Seal.
Yeah, Barry Seal is tied to something called Operation 40, and that's a fantastic book. I would recommend you get that book, get a highlighter and a stack of note cards because you're going to be making lots of notes.
Okay, I'm writing that in my notes now.
Yep.
Thank you.
But this whole park issue, it's still going on today. In fact, I've got articles that are as recent as 2025, and they're revisiting old sites that incorporate not just parkland. We're talking about land owned and operated by the Bureau of Land Management, and in fact, the most extreme case I'll jump to later. I'm kind of saving like some amazing juicy stuff for a little later. Okay.
All
Let's
right.
go. Okay, I like it.
So, because this is interesting too, what you're talking about, because it does make sense. Because even though there's a legal cannabis market, it's still going to get infiltrated by the illegal market. So
Sure.
there's ways to get. All right, so we're in New York. I actually work a little bit in the cannabis industry here in New York, and there's ways to get licenses to. You don't have to have your own farm. You don't have to have your own plants. Like you don't need to supply your own product. You can either you can just be a brand for a product. Long as the grower has a license, you're good. So people can work out some backdoor deals and that kind of thing to where, okay, I'm buying, for example, let's say 50,000 pre-rolls, but half of those, what that flower is not going to be what's actually grown from the state and everything else. And that way that guy can capitalize a couple times over on his own product. And then he's going to be taken from the black market or whatever they want to call it. So I can definitely see that there's still, even in the legal side of things, there's a huge market in all of this because there's definitely loopholes around it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is I was telling my buddy this the other day. What's the only thing in life that we use that has come way down in price in the last 15 years? Everything else is going way the fuck up. Groceries, gas, whatever. Everything else that we use. But weed, man, I used to pay $400 an ounce for good weed. Now it's like 120, 130. The more places that open up, the more black market. I mean, it's kind of not the worst thing for people that smoke if you know the right guy, if you know what I'm saying.
But did you guys see anything about, I mean, we're going off topic with cartels and stuff, but that the government is putting, using this legalization tactic and having stuff inside the cannabis and all that?
That's what Deplorable Janet was saying. She's like, once the government gets their hands in on it, what the fuck, what, you got all this GMO like food that we're, they making, what are they putting in the weed? I mean, like, can you really trust what we're smoking?
It's paraquat.
Right.
Yeah, it's the state agencies in California, in order to supplement grow operations, they're trying to get the laws changed now, but they will provide growers with weed killer, and that's basically Roundup. And so I don't know what it does to you smoking it, but it's probably just as bad as, getting it on your skin.
Yeah, not good.
Not to mention, like I know, like True Leaf down here, like the main state supplier for medical marijuana they have to put addictive chemicals in their product. And the reason why I say that is we have 3 different other dispensaries around me that are great. They're clean, you can tell, and they're dead. But True Leaf is a bumping, man. It's crazy.
And price points are all the same and stuff, Mike?
Yeah, price points are all the same. There's just stuff like, I just feel like they put addictive chemicals like they do like cigarettes and, stuff like that into the medical marijuana. to keep you to coming back, and that's why it's so cheap. You know, crack's cheap, but you keep coming back for it. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, these same groups that run the park grow operations, it does take a long time for the growing season to complete, and in between they'll switch over to things like methamphetamine and cocaine, and so it's not just the plant. It's just that the plant is a lot easier to move because once it's out in the public, especially in counties where it's legalized, nobody knows where it came from. Which begs the question, though, because on these raids I've been reading about, these agents, like I said, they have to take helicopters. They have to take, big, long, giant hikes. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if it's that hard to get in, then it's got to be just as dadgum hard to get out. So how are they moving
Absolutely.
the stuff after it's ripe?
Yeah.
I never got an answer to that.
Hmm.
I don't know if
I
that's
wonder-
help from the inside because park officials have been corrupted, even real estate agents.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
So it wouldn't be hard to, get a couple of, park rangers to bring a couple of trucks.
Raj, you just see that Albany police officer that just got busted? He was in with a
Yeah, he
big
was
drug
on
ring
coke, though. Yeah.
that just got. Yeah, I'm just saying in general, it just shows you. I mean, any kind of
Yeah, they think
officials
everybody. I mean,
can be
everybody's
involved
everybody's got a price, man. For
and
sure.
on the take. Yeah, man. I mean, that could
it's-
definitely
definitely
park
be.
ranger, especially if you're just if you're the bottom of the barrel park ranger. I mean, I don't know what it is in California, but here it's like 60 grand. Someone
Yeah, but
offers
if
you
you're
100
taking
grand
Smokey
cash,
the
I
Bear a
bet you're
little
doing it.
seriously, then
Right. And that's the thing with the real estate agent aspect too. They, buy them a couple of houses, put a couple of cars in the garage, and once they're in the garage, you don't know what's coming out in and out of those cars and trucks and all that. And that's a good way to house to house, safe houses, all that. And they're known for tunnels. They're not afraid to work underground.
That's
in
true.
fact, that's how a lot of the stuff initially started in California. And surprisingly enough, these one big tunnel actually came up in an area of Chinatown. And this connects, I'm kind of teasing a little bit, but the Mexican drug cartels, you have all these families like the Mangana family, and I forget the name of the other one. But those, when you hear about like cartel families, they're not the head honchos of any of these. They're the middle operators.
Yeah.
These families will go to sites at these national parks and manage the workers. And so when you hear a name in the news like, oh, this drug lord got busted and this guy's serious business, no, that was just another member of a family that can get replaced by anybody else.
Yep.
And they have it set up to where they do snitch, and that they're like okay with it. Like there's a system they have set in place in the cartels. It's very strange, but they know you're going down at some point, so make the money while you can, kind of thing.
Right. Now the connection though is okay. Where does all this money go, and how is it laundered? And that's any investigation is going to start with that, following the money, because street cash, you just can't send that over the border. And so I would like to introduce a person you may have never heard of, and he's not Mexican. Oops, you don't want to see that.
It's not the Olympic
There we go.
skier, is it?
Let me embiggen that a little bit. So if you want to read this, I would highly recommend reading a couple of articles from ProPublica. They have an enormous profile on this particular Chinese gangster. And I can't pronounce his first name, but his name
is
Lee. Yeah. Z Lee, I guess.
Lee.
And he was finally busted in 2019. But this gentleman is responsible for laundering all of the drug money from a good chunk of California, Washington State, and Oregon operations. And his scheme is what he would do. Whoops. First of all, oh my God, sorry. What he would do is, first of all, he's a member of a triad, an actual Chinese triad, and he grew up in a Chinatown in Los Angeles, and he some of his family was involved in smuggling drugs through a tunnel that crossed the border, and they would go out and pick up these deposits, and he became associated with the family operation and rose in the ranks, and he became very interested in how the cartels operated, and so he moved to Mexico. He got a Spanish-speaking wife, and she was a U.S. citizen. He became so fluent in Spanish that you couldn't even tell he had an accent, even over the phone. And what he did is he also had contacts in China through his triad. And when a cartel wanted money from a transaction, he would have couriers bring the profits of sales to a location in California. And then upon verification, he had a giant amount of pesos in Mexico that he would instantly take over to a warehouse for the cartel. Okay, they have their money. Now, in the States, Lee has all this dirty cash. And so he has Chinese investors overseas that need access to American dollars. And so he takes that money and deposits it and sends his Chinese business partners American dollars digitally or through a check. And then he can also wash it at casinos he owns in Guatemala.
Oh God, what an easy way to
This
wash
dude's
it.
huge. This dude's
He's
huge.
got it figured
At
out.
his compound in Guatemala, he has a fake ID operation in which Chinese officials can come over to Latin America and obtain for credentialing in the United States. Now, this is all tied to Mexico and China's partnership. Mexico depends on China for trade, just like the United States.
Right.
But their arrangements are a little more loose. And Lee, for his part, makes money 4 different ways. One, washing the money. One with his Chinese clients. Another with his fake IDs. And then the fourth one is where he gets Chinese investors to pay for real estate in California or Colorado. And then in one particular case I want to get to, Oklahoma. And that's where more grow operations are created. So
Really?
It's kind of a perpetuating cycle of sales, investment, and production. Wash,
Oklahoma,
repeat.
huh?
That's the big one.
Wow, I wouldn't think
So-
Oklahoma.
Nobody would either. But there's a let me just vamp for a little bit here. Let's see, where is it? Where's my
Oklahoma's
Oklahoma?
not actually a bad spot. You're kind of your central location, East Coast, West Coast. It's not a bad.
And plus, there's nobody there. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been through Oklahoma, but there's only
No.
like 2 or 3 major cities, and the rest is just flat red dirt.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pull this article up, and I'm going to read a couple of sections from it, just because this is wild. So in Kingfisher County, Oklahoma, okay, we're talking late 2022. There was a driver who was going up to a house named Chen Wu, and he had a 9mm pistol, and he went into a cannabis grow operation, and he confronted somebody named Chen. And this guy's 56 years old, and he's the boss of this grow operation. And he shoots him in the knee because Chen owes him $300,000. And the cops get involved. And I mean, this is a quiet town of like maybe 2,000 people in the entire county. And so cops show up, and they learn that all of these people are from the same province in China, and it's called Fujian. And it's known for Chinese mobsters and mafia. And a whole bunch of Chinese immigrants end up getting smuggled across the Mexican border. Do y'all remember seeing footage of all the Chinese border crossers a couple years ago?
Yeah, when they were coming over that caravan, right?
That's where these people are going. Okay, they're going to run cannabis farms in places like Oklahoma and other areas where these triad real estate operations are buying property.
Wow.
And this, see, I got a lot of this. I'm going to paraphrase. I don't want to read through all of it. But again, this is through ProPublica, They have a whole bunch of articles about this story that are just unbelievable. The special SWAT group that went into the operation, it was dark and it was at night, and they thought they were in a room that was filled with like dirt or mud, but then when they actually turned the lights on, that turned out to be nothing but human excrement. These people are living in total squalor.
Wow. Gross.
And yeah, and then here's some other things that are of note. When the property was bought, I think in 2020, the locals that were just trying to be friendly, they would show up and just want to, hey, howdy neighbor, and they get run off and threatened with guns. There was a crop duster that was getting shot at. Even the mail carriers are getting harassed not to even approach the mailbox.
Wow.
But this is just one small operation, and the investigators were saying that they discovered 100 greenhouses, not plants, but greenhouses on this one property in Oklahoma.
Wow.
And this is tied to that Lee fella.
Damn. I wonder how long that's been, if there was a system prior to that going on, because I know, especially on the East Coast, they were a common distributor back in the early to mid 2000s on the East Coast as well.
Well, Lee short-circuited that system because the old system, the people that laundered the money used to be the Colombians, but they would charge about 18 to 20%. Because of Lee's operation and the amount he's able to make, he only charges 1 or 2%. And so that completely changed the way business was being done.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now, I mean, now as far as speculation goes, so Lee got busted by an undercover agent in 2019, and Lee had a partner that was politically connected to the Communist Chinese Party, and that particular guy, I'm digging deep. I haven't done a full deep dive on that fella yet, but his name is Liu, Liu, and he's a tubby fella. And if you ever read articles about Lee, you'll definitely see pictures of Liu. And he's actually met face to face with Donald Trump, and he has been advocating for looser restrictions on Chinese students getting into colleges. Isn't that interesting? In fact, a lot of the tuition that is paid to colleges from Chinese students comes from drug money that these Chinese investment companies make off of the grow operations.
RPI, Raj.
I mean, think about it. There was, what school was it had to higher the standards because there were so many
Asians. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So while we're getting dumber, they're getting smarter, and they're making money both ways.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's now there's I mentioned speculation earlier. So I don't know if you saw it in the news, but in 2020 the Fed I think it was the State Department, they ordered the Chinese consulate here in Houston to shut down in 72 hours. Do y'all remember that?
I can't.
I mean,
I don't remember that
it was kind of it was more of a local story. And the only way I heard of it is that there was this, breaking news alert. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on? And, there's a fire in Chinatown. We got a big Chinatown here in Houston, too. And it was the courtyard of the Chinese consulate. And there was a helicopter flying over it. And you could see all of these people running out of the building with just boxes of documents. And they were dumping them into a giant fire pit. They were just burning documents like crazy. Now, the report is that they were burning evidence of the consulate stealing intellectual property, whether it came to biomedical research or computer technology. But I just find it a coincidence that only, 4 or 5 months prior, the biggest Chinese triad linked to the drug trade happened to get arrested. And there was a 72-hour window to shut down the consulate because he was extradited directly to here to Houston.
Wow.
Shit.
Yeah, Houston is the #1 city when it comes to human trafficking.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple years ago there were some undercover folks. They'd go to the airport and they'd have a hidden camera on them, and they thought it was weird because they'd go to bag check at like 1 or 2 in the morning just to do a sting, and they'd see they'd see a whole bunch of kiddos with one adult at the bag claim, and then another adult would show up, and the kids would leave with that adult at 2 in the morning.
Wow.
I mean, what's going on there?
Sick, man.
I mean, that's a whole nother can of worms.
Yeah.
What was that, Mike?
I said, yeah, trafficking children and using them as what do they call them? Where they fill them with drugs so they can transport them over.
Mules. Yeah.
Yeah, or to work. I mean, I'm sure some of them end up working too. I mean, the whole problem with all this vice that goes underground is that when you have a foreign population as your source of labor, they import also their vices. So that's where you get gambling parlors, which leads to prostitution, which leads to loan sharking, which leads to, even harder violent crime.
They say like from my dad was always into like all the different mobs and everything, and they say the Chinese mob was like the most brutal and the hard, like more than the Italians, the Irish, worse than them all. That's what they say. I mean, I guess it all depends, but
well, it depends on your definition of violent. I mean, obviously there's the street violence, but then there's the political violence too. There's I mean, my gosh, when it comes down to when you look at overall mafia structure, if you go back enough into the Italian mafia, at least in the United States, you'll realize that it has more connections to the Jewish mafia more than anything. And if you want a good starting point, just look at the Bronfman families out of Canada. Big Jewish family, and they're the reason the United States got wasted during Prohibition.
Okay.
In fact, that's the family that owns the Seagram's liquor brand.
Okay.
Yeah. And they got their start in the Great Depression, at least, as an empire. And they were using criminal gangster elements on the Detroit and Chicago side. And that's where people like Meyer Lansky get involved.
Yeah.
So do you think the Jewish mob, I was just going to say, I know he was involved in Vegas, building Vegas. So you think the Jewish mob was also involved in building Vegas along with the Italian mob?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Bugsy Siegel, yeah, Jewish mob. And then Meyer Lansky is Vegas was peanuts. His big baby was Cuba.
Okay.
Before the Castro Revolution, Meyer Lansky ran the gaming in Cuba, and that was, that was a huge moneymaker. In fact,
was Meyer Lansky? Was he the one that was behind the White Sox, the Black Sox scandal, the 19? I think wasn't one of them behind that too.
I think so, but
I feel like he was. I feel like he might have been behind it. I could definitely look it up, but I think I remember seeing that on what was the movie Boardwalk Empire, or the show Boardwalk Empire. It's a great show.
Yeah, the mafia ties and how the Chinese mafia, they're definitely more secretive.
Yeah.
And the only way you learn anything about them is if somebody gets caught or somebody goes down. They don't boast and they don't go public. At least with other mobsters, they go legit, or they whatever legit means, like investing in a sports team or a tiki bar down in Florida.
It was. I'm sorry. I just want to correct myself for the listeners. I had to look it up. It was Arnold Rothstein who was behind the 1919 Black Sox scandal, but he was. I mean, they were all in cahoots. But
the other one you mentioned, the Brothman family, it actually has local ties to the. That's why when you said the name, I recognized it from the Nixon cult.
Nexium. Yeah,
Nexium. Yeah, his. Right. What was it?
Sarah and Jane.
Sarah and Claire.
Claire
were major financial backers to the cult.
The Brofmans are. They're study the Brofmans, and you will notice that they have a huge rise. I mean, there was a biographer in the 70s that was going to write a book about them, and he ended up committing suicide over threats. And he admitted to his publisher that they're not going to get me. I'll take myself out. But there is I think there's a British book called The Bronfman Dynasty, and you can get it online for free at archive.org. It's a really good book, and it's full of juicy tidbits, and it tells you all the details. But the decline of the Bronfmans actually started, I guess in the 60s. I forget which Bronfman invested a whole bunch into a media company from France. I know this is during the 80s. This is the height of the MTV explosion. And basically signed over the rights of the Bronfman and Seagram's empire to this clown in France. And the media empire never took off. And they ended up having to sell chunks of their intellectual property off. So Crown Royal, Seagram's Gin, Canadian Club, all of that is no longer owned by the Bronfmans. That's all been sold off. The Bronfmans do not own Seagram's anymore. Mm-hmm. And some of their other cousins and modern folks include the Nexium cult. But I'll bet you didn't know that one of them also founded a church that loves to partake in ayahuasca. It went to the Supreme Court, too, because the federal government wanted to shut them down. They were getting ayahuasca shipped to them directly from Latin America. And they were going through like 10 gallons of it or something. I forget how much. It was a lot. Yeah. It's so one of the Bronfmans was a deacon at this church, and they argued before the court that this is a part of their sincere religious practice, and they were given the thumbs up to continue the practice. And he ran his church out of Vegas.
Almost like those, what was it? Was it the, what do they call it? They were back in Florida in Star Island back in the 70s, the weed church there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell.
The church, it was Church of Zion or something to that extent, I feel like. But it was in the Square Grouper documentary. I remember watching it by Billy Corbin. And similar thing. They took it to court and everything else, but it did not pass down there in Florida.
And
you ever hear that, Mike?
Oh.
Sorry. Go ahead.
The Ethiopian Zion, was it the Ethiopian Zion Coptic Church in Miami, Florida? 38,000 pounds of
That's it.
Marijuana.
Dead
That's
good.
it.
It's a brick.
Them boys getting high today.
Shoo.
Damn, bro.
Similar, though. They took it to court and fought it. And
1979. Or, 19. There's more. I see 1979.
They bought a whole island, dude. Like Star Island, they owned the whole island at one point.
Wow. That is wild. What is the laws in Texas right now? Is it?
Oh, no, they're tight. Yeah, there's no
there's no recreation. No, right?
There's they do the whole Delta 8 fake stuff.
Yeah,
that's so stupid.
And I mean, now look, I'm not judging anybody's personal decisions about anything, but I'm a teetotaler myself. But at the same time, I understand that legalization or decriminalization period would end like violent crime, ripoffs, international gangster mafia triad activity. I mean, that would disappear. Okay.
It does. It helps for sure.
Now, personally, I think it's a bit of an eyesore when I look at a shopping mall and I see a children's daycare, a hair salon, a restaurant, and then a smoke shop.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, you're right. You ain't wrong.
Absolutely right.
I think that's an eyesore. Yep. And they are everywhere here. And now, and this I promise, I'm not trying to offend anybody, okay? Just hear my words when I say this. So, all of the justifications that people my age and younger and even older, the old hippies, use when it comes to especially cannabis or other, less dangerous chemicals, substances, those arguments come from George Soros. Okay? So, for example, when the law was passed in California for medical use, the advocacy group that promoted the law, they would bring AIDS patients. They would bring people with chronic conditions to parade in front of politicians and normal people, and that's important because we have the hard luck cases and we present them as, well, this is medicine to them. This is going to help them get out of pain. Don't you have some compassion? Now, that tactic had been played in Europe and in other areas where things are decriminalized. And so the next step after that is, okay, well, people are going to use other drugs too. Let's have a safe place for them to use them. Let's have a program where they have clean needles. Or let's have a program where you can receive glass pipes through the mail, like what happened during Biden's administration. So my point is that, look, if you have a sincere belief about what you use or what you partake in, okay, that's fine. But you better make dadgum sure that that's what you sincerely believe, and it's not some hype you've heard from an organization promoting a substance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Sorry. Sometimes people hear that and they go, "What are you saying that I'm no, I'm not saying anything. Just hear me out."
Oh, I got you.
No, I
For
totally get
sure,
it.
man. What isn't I just want to bring it back to, like you were saying, that most of the grow is in Oklahoma. Isn't like Oklahoma like the most like criminal? Like if you get like pulled over with a joint in Oklahoma, I heard you're going to jail. Like, or am I just like, am I hearing?
Unless you can prove that you're a member of a tribe. What's crazy is when I go through Oklahoma, you meet a whole bunch of you'd think you meet some guy that's like right out of a Marlboro commercial. You know what I mean? And he's just this tall, slim, white fellow with a handlebar mustache, and his last name is like runs with feathers. And you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? And you hear it at a hospital. Like there's the Oklahoma Surgical Center is right there in South Oklahoma City, and that is the local place where you can go for a surgery, cash money, and they publish all their prices. So if you got a condition and you don't want to go through your insurance, or if you don't have any and you need it, well, they tell you how much to bring, and it's like perfect. Anyways, you're in there at the clinic, and they got they're taking numbers, and every time they call somebody's name, they're like John Painted Stone, and this tall white dude stands up and walks over there because it's a scam. If you could prove any little bit of possible Indian blood, then you get a ton of benefits, including land access. If you
Tax break, all that.
Yeah, and you're not going to get harassed as much, especially if you partake as part of your religion.
What if they get a break? If they get a piece of the casino money?
I don't know about that. That casino's a joke, though. There's a main casino that goes right up through I-35, and they charge you to play blackjack. So on top of your bet, you also have to pay $5 a hand to play.
What?
That's a total
wow,
jack, man.
It's probably that busy, and I bet you people do it. People probably pay it
because it's the only place to play, and
Yeah.
there's tons of semi trucks parked there. It's a huge it's a huge building.
Wow, that's
And
sick.
That's why Houston's such a hotbed, is because that's a big trucking spot, like a good. It's a port.
Yeah, it was originally like, going back a couple years, or easily like 2005, 2006. Houston was going to be one of the first cities that the NAFTA corridor was going to run through. There was a talk around that time between George Bush Jr. and then I forget there was a couple of Canadian prime ministers, and then the president of Mexico, Vicente Fox. They were collaborating on the North American Union. I don't know if y'all remember that, but there were actual talks to replace every currency with one single currency called the Amero, and they were going to build a gigantic, huge highway system running through Mexico all the way to Canada, and the first city on the stop was going to be Houston.
When
Looked it up. What was that one?
was that, Mike?
What was that one? I'm gonna look that one up. I don't think I heard of that one.
Oh,
You're just
the
talking
North
about-
American Union.
North
Yeah.
American Union.
Yeah. It caused a
think
bit
I
of a
have, but I
stir.
just wanna make sure. I've just been writing down notes.
Yeah, I'm always like looking up stuff as we talk about it on my other laptop myself. I'm always like the fact checker.
But and the other thing you said that stands out to me that you said earlier was when all those people were crossing the border, the Chinese that were crossing, they were all going to work in the cannabis houses and grows, and that's interesting, and kind of setting them up too throughout the country if they wanted to do anything else with them too.
Well,
So
as far as speculation goes, I guarantee you it won't take hard to connect the dots, but that was around the time that people were using the CBP1 phone app in order to cross the border. I don't know if you're familiar with that app.
I remember hearing about it.
yeah.
And it received a lot of support from people on the more progressive side of things, and I'm wondering how many Chinese lobbying firms pushed him to agree to it, because that would make a lot of sense. But that's speculation.
Always
Speculation, of
speculation.
course.
Dude, I
my
speculate
question
all the
is-
time, man. It's
all the time. My question is most of these growers, especially when you're talking about national parks and stuff like that, they got to be paying off the government. Or why else would they keep coming back? Like if they get busted and then another one goes, gets, takes its place, and just it's a never-ending cycle, they got to be paying the government.
well,
I
the
would
Park
shut 'em
Service
down right away.
alone, their budget for fighting this, I don't have to pull up the article, but in 2000, I think it said 2008, they got a special allotment from Congress for $500,000 to help combat this, and now 20 years later, that's quadrupled. So, funding expands. It's a never-ending problem. People are making money both ways, fighting it, growing it. It's, in a way, it is a payoff. I mean, that's how these departments grow. That's how they flourish.
Absolutely.
So
Everything's dirty money, man.
James, is that kind of like, is this how you process, like you get into a particular topic like the cartels in the parks or something to that extent to start doing your cards and your
It's a hodgepodge of things. I mean, really. So, to condense this the easiest way, I know all four of us have these experiences. You're driving down the road, you're listening to something, you're listening to people talk about stuff you never heard of, and you hear a name or you hear a topic, and you go, "Oh, dude, wow, I never even heard of that." And you're like, "I want to remember that," and then you don't. And then, or you're reading a book, or you're reading a magazine, and maybe you highlight something in a book, and so like, I'll just make this a visual exercise here because this usually helps. Okay, yeah, those are my cards. Let me get that out of the way.
well, you were also nice enough to send us a package here.
Well, that's cool because later on, I'll give your audience a chance to get their own pack too. But-
Oh, sweet.
So, like, when you get a book or whatever, you might highlight something, but then you close the book and you forget it. Okay. And you're never going to open that book again. Okay. That's why I always recommend that you make tons of notes. Okay. And I don't care what kind of paper you got. I don't care if they're receipts. I don't care. Okay. Write and highlight. And then, certain topics will stand out. You'll get a little better at spotting information when you're looking at other books in an index. And so as far as finding topics, God, I don't know. I've been growing up reading this kind of stuff since I was little. And the biggest challenge I've always had was finding the right books and learning actually how to really, really read. So I have to thank my father and my uncle for that. But at least within the last 5 or so years, ever since I discovered Richard Grove and his Grand Theft World program, That was a huge inspiration because that man has a library that makes me drool. That guy has rooms of books, and when he covers current events, he'll pull out a book off the shelf that I have, and I'm like, "Hey, I got that book," and he will open the book and quote you chapter and verse where a lot of these conspiracies or problems originated from. And that's an important skill because it makes you articulate. A lot of times, people like us, if we get into a hot conversation, you got to imagine how other people hear us. They hear us as like crazy. Like funny little side story. I used to live in Las Vegas and had a neighbor at this apartment complex. And I was outside walking my wiener dogs, whatever, having a smoke. And this nice fellow approaches me, and instead of saying hi or introducing himself, he just leans over and says, "Excuse me, sir, have you heard about the Illuminati?" And I go, "Whoa, hey, coming in a little hot, my name's James. What's going on?" And he says, "Well, have you heard of them? Because you need to watch out." And then he just walks away. And I'm like, "Oh my God, that's how other people hear me." That's how.
Is that me to other people?
That's what we are to other people, guys.
Oh
okay.
My God.
So my point is that if you're articulate and you can craft a story, or if you can paint a picture or relate it to something modern, then you're not going to sound like that crazy dude at the park. Okay. And that's pretty much how I present myself when I'm at a convention. Because I go to these little card shows, like sports card shows, Pokemon shows, gun shows, any show that'll let me in the door, and I'm always the crazy guy there because nobody's expecting to run into me.
Do you bring your cards and show them off at those shows sometimes?
Yeah, I sell them. I sell them.
Oh,
face
you
to
do?
Face. I got boxes of them. We're ripping packs, and I'm autographing cards, and
that's sick.
That's
awesome.
You meet. What's so dadgum refreshing? Oh, it's just so refreshing. Is when I come across some younger folks, and we're talking people that are, from the age of like 12 to like 18, and some of these kids, they know what's up. They know that there's something wrong, and they're talking about history. They're talking about movers and shakers in politics. They're talking about mind control movements that are subjugating the youth. They're talking about what upsets them at school. They're talking about the COVID lockdowns like the way we would. And that's a good sign, y'all. That's a great sign. Because it's the complete opposite when I go do a gun show. Because you would think that these cards would be a hit. And they're absolutely not. Because most of the people at these Texas gun shows, they're in their late 60s, early 70s, and they only know one of their Bill of Rights. Which one do you think it is?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the saddest part is that they're so dismissive of the younger generations. They'll say some trash like, "Oh, all they care about is their social media and their TikTok, and they're just not worth, anything, not like we were." And I asked them, I'm like, "Okay, so what are you doing to give back? What are you doing as an older statesman that can, change things?" And they say nothing. They're like, "Oh, it's over. It's lost." And that is the worst thing I have ever heard because, I'm a nobody. Okay, I'm barely artistic. Okay, I am a great photographer. I know how to edit. I know how to read, but I would hardly call myself important on any grand scale. But I do deeply care about passing information on, especially to younger generations, whether it's simply showing them how to bait a hook, whether it's showing them how to, change brakes on a car, Does that make sense? I'm sorry.
Change a
Absolutely.
tire.
Hell
Absolutely.
Yeah. The same way. That's why I coach basketball. That's why I coach softball, just to make sure these kids know what the heck they're doing. I'll tell you, the first year I didn't coach because I was trying to take a year back and just watch and see how it goes and not be like that helicopter parent. And when the highlight of practice for softball was the kids were getting juice boxes, I was like, "Fuck this! I can't do this shit. I'm too competitive. And I'm not gonna let my kid suffer because this guy that's out here that doesn't know what he's doing." And I ended up fucking having a coach. But basketball, I'm all in on that.
Man, I have a lot of respect for youth coaches. I took my kid to baseball, and the coaches there they have a lot of patience and a lot of care. And I respect a good, hard edge, fair coach.
Mm-hmm. Gotta be. It's tough. Some of these kids, and that's the only active thing they've ever done is go to these practice. Like, they don't. All they do is play video games or get handed a tablet. So like, it's tough to keep them motivated, to say the least. But
I
James,
like to scare parents.
I'm gonna bust open one of these packs, man. I want to get the viewers a look and see what we got. What do you think?
Hey, do whatever you want. And then, like I said earlier, when you're ready to wrap up, let me know, and I'll open a pack here on my end. And anybody in the United States, if they answer my trivia question, I'll mail them the contents of that pack. How's that?
Nice. I like it.
Okay, I love it. I love
Let's
that.
go.
A little work for it too.
I'm kind of cool. I mean, I'm easy to reach. If Ann or Mike, just happen to reach out to me, maybe you get a package in the mail someday.
That'd be great, man. That'd be really cool. I'll put them right on my shelf back here, man.
Now, I will tell you,
my podcast room, so that would be great.
I don't. My subjects cover basically people, events, and technology responsible for what I think the state of the world is today. They are biased, okay, but they're biased against tyranny and they're biased against plunder. I am not a left or right thinker. I'm not even libertarian. I don't even get along with libertarians because they live in hypotheticals their entire life, and that's not reality. Reality is about power. Reality is about influence. And if you take yourself out of the game, then you don't have a party, okay? So if I were to say I was anything, maybe I'm a Bill of Rights volunteerist. But I'm not saying that's correct. It's just nothing makes sense to me. Nothing really has ever made sense to me because you can't package people in a label or a box or a party.
You're right. Oh God, I have beliefs on all sides of the table. You know what I mean? So to be labeled one side is crazy.
Absolutely.
These guys hear me all
consequently, I guarantee you that means one of my subjects is going to offend somebody. And that's happened. I poke at people on the left, on the right. I poke at nations, ideologies. But that, in fact, this last Saturday, they got me in trouble. I got a card about BLM, and somebody really just thought I was a racist Nazi for even, bothering.
Making a card, right?
Yeah. But no, I make it fun. I mean, look, I grew up collecting baseball and basketball cards. This is at a time when the only time I ever saw sports was when it was on broadcast TV. I didn't have cable. And so, I mean, I didn't know anything about Vlade Divac except for what was on the back of a card, And but I mean, there was, I've always had this. Okay, so when my kid was little, I got him this set of books called the Tuttle Twins. Have you ever heard of the Tuttle Twins?
I think so. Yeah,
they're kiddie books.
It's a kid's book, yes.
But they're fantastic. They are Curious George style reading level books. But each one is about a brother and a sister, and they learn some really awesome lesson about volunteerism, like how to run a lemonade stand without letting the IRS know, or how to solve a problem in your community without resorting to communism. I'm like, this is great. There needs to be more material like this. And people get tired of me saying this, but this is about perspective. Look, I was a boy once. We all were. And how do you make friends in school? You make friends over cartoons, sports, comic books, trading cards, video games. And then you get out of high school and you're becoming a man. And so you're working on cars. You're learning, skills like hunting, your leather, and you're getting these dude hobbies, working out, impressing chicks. And so when you meet somebody your age, what do you bond over? All that kiddie stuff you bonded over in high school. And so it keeps you like an adult teenager. And I don't think that's very healthy. I mean, it's okay to collect some stuff from your childhood. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you got 50, 60-year-old men that are, into Pokemon or some Japanese cartoon, I think that's kind of sad. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
so I think,
or sitting there playing Fortnite all day.
Yeah, so I think your hobbies, I think that's fine. I think those should just grow up with you. That's all.
That's it.
Sure.
You see these grown ass dudes in their 40s playing Pokemon Go. Like there used to be like a hot spot right in front of the restaurant I worked at, and I'd see old dudes out there walking back and forth with their phone next to the highway, trying to pick up a Pokemon. I'm like, what are you grown men doing? Like, It's weird. Very weird.
It's crazy. Well, James, man, this is a fun episode, dude. This is the set I got here. Let's see. We got
you got some rare cards. Nice.
Oh,
Ooh.
shit. Got to
Where's that?
Follow orders.
Yeah, that's about the Milgram experiment.
The Milgram experiment. I'll have to look into that one. Let's see here.
Raj, this will give us some ideas to talk about too, to dig into some stuff.
That's right. Giulio Andrade.
Yeah, Giulio Andreotti. He was the
There you
prime
go.
minister of Italy during the P2 Masonic Lodge takeover of the government.
Oh, shit.
Ooh.
IPCC.
Those things are nice.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah,
French
They are
thing.
really nice.
Yeah, that is the body tied to the United Nations that tries to control United States policy about climate change.
Let's
Okay.
see. The IOR. I believe it
IOR.
says.
That's the Vatican Bank that the
Oh,
P2
hell yeah.
Masonic Lodge was laundering money through.
Yeah, we're taking some deep
That's
dives
awesome.
here.
You draw these?
Yeah, I do all the photography. I do all the collaging. I do all the.
That's sick,
awesome.
man.
So sick.
There's the Wisconsin Yachter.
Wisconsin versus Yoder. That's a Supreme
Yoder.
Court case in which the state of Wisconsin wanted to decide how Amish families raise their children by forcing them to go to public school.
Mhm.
It's a real Supreme Court case.
These are all like things I've never heard of, Raj. So you could.
IPCC.
Now the gag is that you probably have a different version. So every subject has 3 unique cards, and there's a different part of the story on the back of each card.
Yep, I
Sure,
see
sure.
this. Okay. And then there's a little
I can't
magnifying
wait to get
glass
some.
thing here. Is that to find a
Yeah.
hidden message on the card?
Well, no hidden messages. That's just to help
Okay.
people that can't read too well.
Good, 'cause
Blow
I
up the
was
text
using
on the
it
back.
good. Yeah, good, because I was just using it a couple minutes ago.
That's see.
Do
Now there
you,
will be. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you if you ever put any super rare cards, like numbered cards or autographs or nothing like that.
I don't want to do that. I want
No?
to make it fun. I make it
Okay.
generous. So like
All
every
right.
box has at least 6 or 7 shinies in it. I make it
Yep.
generous
Yeah,
because
good.
I want to make it fun to find stuff, but I
Well,
don't
I
want to
mean-
make it obscure to where.
I mean,
it
as a
turns into
collector, I'm a
Yeah.
card guy. I do sports cards, and when you pull an auto, even if it's an all, you know what I mean. It is a cool feeling. So if you threw an artist's autograph in once in a
You
while,
threw George Soros autograph in there, man.
Oh
People
my
don't
God.
know.
Oh my dude!
Right.
You think I'm giving that away? Are you kidding? I'm slabbing that up tomorrow. You kidding?
my
No way.
goodness,
That's
It's
fun,
like a rare Obama signature.
yeah, right.
I'd love
One
to be
of
able
one.
to trick. I'd love to be able to trick somebody into signing one of my cards at a session. Maybe I'll do that one day.
That'd be funny.
That'd be cool.
There will be. I mean, I'll spoil the beans a little bit. I'm about I don't know, 3/4 of the way done with Series 3, and I am gonna have a game element, but you're not gonna notice unless you're looking.
Okay.
And the
Okay.
prize will be a homemade card that's probably limited and numbered because
Yeah.
before any
That's
let me pop this open real quick. Before I even send cards out to print, I hand make every card at home with
cool.
some photo paper and some card stock just to see how the artwork looks and double check it before it goes to print.
Sick.
So like this is a card from Series 3, but that's just homemade. And I've got some other tricks too where I'm learning to incorporate like thin pieces of plastic film to have transparency. And I'll probably make a really hard to find, like, limited to 25 numbered autograph cards if people can solve the game in Series 3.
All right, man. When's that?
I'm
Let's
about to
get
get
you
on
back
that.
on. Yeah, let's get you back on when you're getting ready to release that one.
Absolutely. And you got to still, before we end the episode, you have to give that trivia question for the
Oh,
listeners.
shit, I
James.
forgot.
Don't
Okay, so
forget
let's
to do that.
this. Let's
buddy.
do this. Let's do
Let's
this.
do it.
Okay.
Thanks, Anna. I totally forgot.
Yeah, no,
I was
definitely.
I was getting into this. Okay, so I do this with my mic off to the side.
I could tell when I did the Chaos Corner that one night without you guys, that when James was on there, we had Sam from Web of Mysteries on. So once he gets cooking, man, you kind of just let him roll. And I could tell James had a lot more to say, so I'm glad we had a chance to get him on and chop it up here for a bit.
All right, so I'm going to open
Absolutely.
up this pack right here. These are real trading cards, and I got a handy dandy open tab right there.
Mhm. James, what do you sell a pack for?
At the shows, it's $2.
Oh,
but,
God, that's...
I want to make
Let's
it
give
fun.
them away.
These are cool as shit.
They are pretty.
All right, so we got a weather modification 2.
Oh,
border.
that's Florida Mike's favorite.
Then we have a card about La Problematique, which is about the Club of Rome.
Shit.
Yeah,
National
nice.
Education Association, which is about communist teachers.
Of course.
Uh-huh.
Oh, this is a great one. This is Camp X. This is about the secret training facility in Canada that helped train the burgeoning CIA.
Oh shit.
Black Bloc. These are the Antifa goons that go around and destroy property in the middle of protests.
That's nice artwork, man.
And
Really
this
good.
Aldo Moro, he's a prime minister that was murdered during the P2 Masonic Lodge takeover in Italy. I've got a lot of cards devoted to that chapter, only
That's
because
cool, yeah.
I think children need to understand that, when you say things, well, I'll shut up here. Let me get through this. Then we got Harold Rugg. This was a communist who was in charge of teaching children how to be socialists during the 1940s. And this is a bit of a sequel card because he worked with a man named George Counts who created social studies. And if you read his documents, George Counts in his own journals admits to being an open communist. He hates families, he hates church, and he created social studies to turn us all into collectivists. Okay. All right. So I got a real easy question. All you got to do is reach out to me. You can reach me through email, plunderworld@protonmail.com. I'm very active on Instagram. That's where you can see artwork for upcoming cards in Series 3, convention appearances if I'm going to be there. But reach out to me and tell me what the official nickname of the city of Houston is. That's all you got to do. And then if you live in the United States, I'll go ahead and all you got to do is just and reach out, and I'll go ahead and mail you that pack of cards.
Come on,
Easy.
folks. That couldn't get any easier.
Come
If you
on.
listen to a hip hop song in the early 2000s, you know what the name of it is. So,
Now, it's not what you think. There's an official nickname.
oh,
All right. So
okay,
there's lots of nicknames for Houston. There are.
man, okay,
So,
damn.
It'll be interesting if somebody reaches out to you. It'll be definitely interesting
We'll see.
if they
We'll see.
if
I have
they
an answer, but I
answer
don't
it.
want to say it to eliminate. So I feel like it's a little
What's
trick question here.
no, don't say it
No,
because
I'll
if
say
it's
it
the
off
answer,
air. I'll say it off air.
yeah, no doubt.
But-
I was gonna say, don't ruin it.
James,
Yeah.
super fun, man. We got to get you back on right before the second or the third series drops here.
Yes, sir.
totally. I mean, just quickly, I don't want to leave without just giving y'all a little quick tease. So there's some artwork for Series 3. I'm covering the Bronfman family.
Oh,
And,
shit. All right, good.
That's
Yeah.
sick.
And then we're going to talk about Edward Lansdale. He's the guy who created Operation Mongoose. And he was a sick dude, man. He used to kill people and blame it on vampires in the Philippines.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Dark Winter, which was a tabletop exercise that predated 9/11, but game planned an anthrax release. The CIA in 1973 and their overthrow of Chile. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's the country of Chile. I'm trying to make it look like
On the
drool.
side, yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see that you're coming out of his mouth. Okay.
And then there are books, there are training manuals by the CIA that were used to train South American soldiers in torture and imprisonment. And James Bath is the link from the Bush family to the Bin Laden family. And you've never heard of James Bath, and there's a reason. And then we got to talk about atrazine, which is the chemical that makes the frogs switch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and then aluminum and all the nasty things that it does to your brain.
All the amount they put in the chemtrails.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Special Group, which is a wing of the National Security Agency that I'm sorry, National Security Council, and
That's what Anthony used to go to in school. Special group.
yeah, they got a bus to go with it, huh?
That's me.
Yeah. And Randy Weaver and what happened in Idaho. Remember that story? That predated Waco.
Yeah, I knew the name.
And then radio hysteria. There was a study about the effects of the War of the Worlds radio broadcast and what it did to people.
No shit.
Pre-bunking. That's I don't know. People don't really use that word anymore, but it's worth a card. That one's hard to see. I hate this artwork. I got to do more on it. But it's about how the Operation Paperclip did more than just bring over German scientists. It brought over Japanese scientists that tortured American POWs with chemicals and diseases. It was pretty nasty. Pegasus. That's Israeli
Operation
spyware.
Pegasus, yeah.
Yep. So you heard of Pegasus. Operation Condor. That's the CIA in charge of terror squads in South America. It's just the same broken record on repeat. And there's me. Hey, there's a topic about magnetogenetics, which is a scientists right now, they can inject a magnetic particle into lab mice. And through magnets and even Wi-Fi signals, they can control signals in their brain, like keep them from eating and stuff like that. But sometimes I make appearances in cards, either my hands, my feet, or my face, or whatever. But that's just a small sample of Series 3.
That's dope, man. And let them know once again where they can find you.
Plunderworld.com. That's where you can get a box, or you can order 5 packs at a time. Sorry, y'all. I am sold out of Series 1. At some point, I may get another printing. But if you want to see what I'm up to, usually Instagram, Plunder World Cards on Instagram is the best place to go.
Awesome. James, thank you so much, man. This is a fun episode. We'll get you back on here once you're ready to drop.
Thanks for having me. Look,
Series 3.
I mean, I sound like a Luddite, but I just think this technology is incredible. I mean, this is the future, y'all, and I love it. This is so cool.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, man.
It's
Absolutely.
really
Love having you on there.
Yeah, love the work.
Thanks.
Listeners, make sure you guys
Definitely
go check out his stuff. Got some really cool. I can't wait to bust open these other packs here and see what we get. Go check it out. Make sure you also go and check out our Instagram, our YouTube. Follow us, like, share, subscribe, and we will catch you guys next week with another episode. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Peace.
This is conspiracy chaos. Truth, fiction, or both? Let's dive in.